Hi, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk Chicago. My name is Jon Zaghloul. Great to have you here on BPOD TV, channel 59.3 in Roku. Big show for you today. The Bears won, but Matt Nagy's been exposed, and on top of it, he wants Andy Dalton to be the starting quarterback again. We have a lot to discuss on that in just a moment. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. If you want to watch more of this show, search us up, sportstalkchicago.com, or on YouTube at Sports Talk Chicago for clips and special interviews. Also, make sure you subscribe to the BPOD TV YouTube page. You can watch full episodes of this show and other shows from the BPOD TV network. All you have to do is search up VPOD TV. Before we start today, I have to tell you about State Farm agent Brian McDevitt. A lot of our listeners have gone to him for all their insurance needs, and he's been very helpful in getting them the coverage they deserve. There's no game with Brian. He's just here to help and make sure you feel safe. So if you have insurance needs and you haven't called him yet, what are you waiting for? Dial up the number, 630-796-2662. That's 630-796-2662. Or find him online at ryanismyagent.com. That's ryanismyagent.com. And make sure to mention Sports Talk Chicago. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I know you're probably tuning in to hear me talk about Justin Fields and the Big Bears win on Sunday. What a performance. Great game. It was. And we'll talk about it. I want to start off with this instead. That was an exposure of Matt Nagy. It was. The Bears win, whether it was against Detroit or not, was an exposure of Matt Nagy. And to me, it proves why he shouldn't be the head coach anymore. You might say, John, what are you talking about? They won. If they lost, Nagy would have gotten fired. Not if they win. On the contrary. You understand that by Nagy giving up play calls and by listening to Bill Lazor, his coordinator, they won. Matt Nagy assumed no leadership, or very little leadership, as we've been told. And they won. They played well, took shots downfield, 300-plus yards of total offense compared to -1. Great team win. Defense played well. Everybody showed up to play. Everybody. That exposed Matt Nagy. The Bears actually did better without him interfering. They did better without him interfering. He's become a hindrance for the team. A hindrance for this offense, for quarterbacks. And we've all known this. This isn't new. But now it's really on a microscopic level. Everybody last year, Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, bad quarterbacks. Now it's all about Nagy. Because everybody knows Justin Fields is not a bad quarterback. Needs work, but not a bad quarterback. So now finally, everybody's acknowledging this is a Matt Nagy problem. Matt Nagy screwed either way. Hope you understand that. The fact that they won yesterday goes to show you he is not integral to this team. He isn't. He got out of the way, they won. He was in the way before, they lost. So even despite winning, Matt Nagy's in trouble. Now it comes out and says, well, Justin Fields won't be starting when Andy Dalton comes back. What? You all know me, I'll admit it. I did not want Fields to start right away, but here's the thing. When you commit to Justin Fields, when you play him for full at 2 games, there's no turning back. Now you're going to hinder his growth. Now you're going to hurt him like you hurt Mitch Trubisky last year. It'd be different if Fields did not play. If Nick Foles came in instead of Fields. But Fields was put in. Fields played 2 full games. He's 1-1. That's it. There's no turning back. They're going to scar this guy. I've never seen a coach so oblivious to quarterback development. Never. You might think this is crazy, but psychologically, this takes a toll on the quarterback. You might not want to talk about feelings and how people feel, but you have to admit the fact that you're a rookie and you were benched number 1, fine, then put in, then told, well, you're really not the starter. How do you think that's going to affect Justin Fields? Oh, he's tougher. I know he's tougher than Mitch, but regardless of the fact he's a rookie, and he played well, or decent enough to win, What did I say last week? If Justin Fields is Andy Dalton, or better, there's no point in taking him out. No point. I don't care that he was based in Detroit. I don't care who the opponent was. Bill Lazor called plays to fit his advantages as a quarterback, which is how it's supposed to frickin' work. So why are we talking about benching him, putting back in Dalton? What, so Matt Nagy could call plays again for Andy Dalton? 5-yard slants and move the ball downfield somehow and lose? And to Justin Fields' credit, he threw the ball a lot downfield. A lot of deep passes. More than I can remember watching Bears football. That was great. Use the arm talent. They did. Only threw the ball 17 times. That's all they needed to win, though. Justin Fields right now, they're trying to use him as a game manager, essentially. That's what he is. And there's nothing wrong with that as a rookie. This allows him to grow. He has a good defense with him. The defense could shorten up the field score for him, even in times, and alleviate the pressure off him. I have no issue with that. I have no issue with Justin Fields today being a game manager. Because over time, that role is going to change and evolve. Pat Mahomes, his rookie year, played one game. Week 17, no touchdowns, no picks. Didn't do anything. He was a game manager for that game. The Chiefs still won. You didn't need him to be Patrick Mahomes. You needed him to be a game manager and just win the game, and he did. Justin Fields is doing the same thing. I got no issue with that. I'd like to see more great numbers, but we'll see that over time when he gets more accustomed to the NFL. I just don't understand the benefit in now not starting him. Psychologically, you're ruining him already. NFL's tough enough. You don't need a head coach pulling you down even further because of his massive ego. The Chicago Bears, where quarterbacks come to die. Used to be Cleveland. For years, it used to be Cleveland. Not anymore. The Bears are the proud owners of that title. You draft a top 10, top 15 quarterback. You trade up to get him. The guy actually was a decent quarterback at Ohio State, more than decent. And you're ruining him. You're actually doing this again. I want to know what you saw to not justify him starting. To say, you know what, I really didn't like that. I'm not saying he was perfect. And again, you all know me. I didn't want him to start. But the fact that he is now doesn't mean you take him out. The decision was made to put him in. Fine. That's it then. There's no flip-flopping. This isn't 2020. Look what happened to Mitch. And you could say not as skilled, weaker, mentally weaker. Fine. But the point is it hurt him. And it hurt the Bears. What, do you want that again? I don't understand this. I don't get it. We saw what we needed to see. We saw a win. We saw a good performance from Fields. Not great, but okay. Good enough to win. Had a better passer rating than Andy Dalton week 1. Similar numbers, too. If he's putting up the same exact numbers as Andy Dalton, what's the point in sitting him? The only justification I could see is the offensive line. Fields was pressured again, certainly. Got hit a few times. But at that point, if that's your number one concern, then you're using that as a crutch. He survived 2 games with this offensive line. Do I like this O-line? Do I think it's doing a good job of protecting him? Hell no. No way. But, again, the Bears have committed to putting him in. It'd be different if they said no. If they said, Nick Foles, you're going in next. But they didn't do that. And now to sit here and say, well, we're going to put in Andy Dalton when he's healthy, that's ridiculous. That's just so wrong. So wrong. And it's going to hurt him. It's going to hurt Justin Fields a lot. He may not be saying much. He may not be saying, oh, I want Dalton to sit. He looked like a bad teammate. But I know the psyche of a quarterback. We all do. We've seen it. We saw it with Mitch. We know what happens. We know what happens when you're poked and prodded with, especially as a rookie. There are guys in the NFL who came up, who were talented, who had bad coaches, and were scarred for life. Jared Goff. I'm not saying Jared Goff is good, but do you really think his rookie year being with Jeff Fisher helped him? No. And it took him a while to learn Sean McVay, and even then, he still wasn't perfect. Sam Darnold. Not saying Sam Darnold is great. A lot of his mistakes are self-inflicted. But do you think it helped that he had Adam Gase? No. Did it? Hurt him tremendously. And pretty much tanked his career. I refuse to have the same thing happen to Justin Fields. Happened to Mitch, too. Mitch had John Fox, then Matt Nagy, who consistently undermined him, never played to his strengths, forced him out of Chicago and claimed it was a quarterback problem. No, it's your problem. Not going to sit here and see it happen again. And nobody should stand for it. I'm so sick of the scapegoating. My goodness. Put some blame on yourself. The Bears won without you. Newsflash, they won without you. They didn't need you. If you weren't there, would not have made a difference. They won. Why don't you take some time and look at yourself? And not say, well, I want to put in my quarterback again, call my plays. No. The Bears did not need you to win on Sunday. What does that say about you as a head coach? That's all you need to know. Bears fans said, oh, I hope the Bears lose, then they'll fire Nagy. Well, even if they win, it's still an exposure. And it was. Offense ran better without Matt Nagy. Justin Fields performed better without Matt Nagy. I thought Matt Nagy came in to develop quarterbacks. He was supposed to develop Mitch. Then, Mitch wasn't his guy. Now he has a guy, and it's still not working. The more and more the Bears play, the more and more Matt Nagy gets exposed. And there's going to come a point where a decision has to be made. I don't get what the hesitation is. I'd still fire him. Even if they won, I'd fire him. Even if they won, I'd fire him. Because it proves he's not integral to the team. The Bears did not need him. They didn't need him to win. They had Bill Lazor, they had Justin Fields, good defensive attack, Sean Desai. They won. That's it. He was a non-factor in yesterday's game. And if he became a factor, if his ego said, I want to become the hero, chances are the Bears would have lost. If Matt Nagy called plays, the Bears would have lost the game. That's a fact. I said this last week. I'll say it again. You got to look at yourself in the mirror. There comes a time when you have to realize, maybe it's me. Maybe it's a me problem. It is a him problem. It is a Matt Nagy problem. There are still some ardent supporters of Matt Nagy. Saw somebody today say, well, at least he put his ego to the side and gave up play calling. Too little, too late. Too little, too late. Sorry. You know what? It would have been different if he kept it that way. Last year, gave up play calling, took it back. This year, took it back. Why is there musical chairs with the playbook? We saw it didn't work, gave it to Bill Lazor. I praised that move last year. Then he took it back. There is no more praise. Everybody's given Matt Nagy too many opportunities, and they blame people instead of him. They blame Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields. Not him. until now. Now it's popular to say it's a Matt Nagy issue. I've been saying that for years. If you watched me last season, I said it's a Matt Nagy issue. This is not news to me. I'm just happy it's finally being talked about. This is not a shock. It's been like this since the beginning, since he came here. It's up to everyone else to realize it and make a comment on it. I'm happy we all see it now, but again, too little, too late. Now the Bears actually drafted a good quarterback, and he's literally getting screwed. Screwed. They draft a running quarterback, a mobile quarterback, good arm, plays on the biggest stage, and this is what they do to him. I'm at a loss. Mitch Trubisky did not play at Ohio State, nor did he have the fundamentals and the physicality that Fields has. So if they did that to Mitch, now they're doing it to Fields. I mean, who would succeed in this system? I don't think Tom Brady would succeed in this system. If Justin Fields can't, name me someone who could. Can you imagine Lamar Jackson being drafted by the Bears? Oh my gosh, he'd be a bust. Everyone would say he's a bust. That's my point. Shouldn't that scare you? Shouldn't that alert you? Shouldn't that tell you? It's a coaching problem. It's a coaching issue. I don't know what to say. If they keep flip-flopping with Justin Fields, it's only going to hurt him long term. I don't care what anybody says. Psychologically, it's going to take a toll, like I predicted from the beginning of the season. And that's going to be a big problem for his entire career. The Bears are currently undergoing the process of breaking another quarterback. And we're just all sitting along twiddling our thumbs. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a good idea. They're purposefully breaking another quarterback. When is it time for people to say enough's enough? I feel so bad for Mitch, now for Fields to an extent too. These are young kids. Really young. Trying to make a name for themselves in this league. And the thanks they get is some egotistical head coach trying to tank their careers. Matt Nagy may have succeeded with Mitch Trubisky already. What, now it's going to be Justin Fields' turn to face the same music? Such a joke. And it's really a shame. The Bears need to realize who the true problem is. It's not Justin Fields. It's not Andy Dalton. It's not Nick Foles. And no, it's not Mitch Trubisky. It's Matt Nagy. The quarterback guru. The offensive guru. Who can't even coach an offense himself. Thanks for watching here today's show on VPod TV, channel 59.3 in Roku. Remember, follow me at Jon Z Sports on Twitter and Instagram and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. Make sure you also subscribe to the VPod TV YouTube page and subscribe to my YouTube page, Sports Talk Chicago, or go to sportstalkchicago.com. Great interviews coming up this week. Tony Andracki from the Marquee Sports Network, Dave Wills, the radio broadcaster for the Tampa Bay Rays, are to come, plus some more Bears talk and a lot more. Really appreciate you tuning in. So long, and thanks for watching.